Welcome to another episode of Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. I am Bean. And if you're here, I really appreciate you. Please hit the thumbs up. And hopefully you having a good Saturday morning. First and foremost, I gotta say all praises and thanks to God for my successful surgery last Thursday. A big shout outs to my family, to my mother, my pops, my sister, my nephew, my niece, making everything convenient for me to recover. Special shout outs to the staff at UC Hospital who performed a very good surgery. And about 10 days later from surgery right now, I'm healing up very well. Also, to all my Facebook friends, I want to say thanks to everybody who gave me a birthday shout out, everybody who knew about my surgery condition that said a prayer, sent a text, called me, stopped by the house. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. All right, so let's get on with the boxing, because that's what we here for. And like I said, please hit thumbs up. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to take this link and I'm going to forward it to Twitter and Facebook, so you guys can be able to keep up with me. So let me get on here real quick and upload this. Okay, so I'm putting this on Facebook right now. All right. So I really, really appreciate everybody here that's that's pulled up here at Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. I feel a whole lot better. And today is actually my first live. What's going on, Cuzzo? Sweet Jones. What's going on, Cuzzo? Everybody hit the thumbs up, please. And I'm gonna take this. I shared it on Facebook, so let me share it on Twitter as well. Cause I'm kind of, I've been on Twitter, but I don't really get on it. But I'm on it a lot more recently. I'm on Twitter and TikTok a lot more. So let me share this to Twitter. Yeah, so let me say what's up to everybody in the hometown of Cincinnati, Ohio, USA. We have a big boxing landscape right here in the city of Cincinnati, where I'm at. If you Google Cincinnati, Ohio, USA, boxers from here, you will see a lot of people. You're going to definitely see, and excuse me if I forget any names. I'm not perfect, so please forgive me. But you got Timmy Austin. You got Ezra Charles from the beginning of Cincinnati. Ezra Charles. You have Tony Tubbs, his brother Nate Tubbs. You have the Pryor family, Aaron Pryor Sr., rest in peace. You have Aaron Pryor Jr. You have his brother Stefan Pryor, aka Champion Pryor. Adrian Broner from the west side of Cincinnati, the original English Woods that is no longer there off of Sutter on the west side. So you got AB, you got Rashi Warren, who was also from the same neighborhood, I believe, English Woods, that Adrian Broner grew up at. So shout out to everybody, anybody who's connected. Little Head Nelson out of the zone, P30, his son P3. Big ups to my big cousin Shorty Price, the Flip Side podcast. Shout outs to Cam J Network and Tay Jones and Brunch Boxing, the ones that kind of gave me some insight on the fact that Deontay Wilder's next opponent will be UK legend Derek Chisora, aka Del Boy. Yes, you heard it right. And if you go on my Facebook page, I posted it to my wall from Derek Chisora doing a FaceTime with Deontay Wilder, and he's holding the contract paper and telling Deontay, "Come on, bro, go ahead and sign this, and let's make this official." So it's going down, and it will be in UK. So I like the fact that Wilder will be able to go over to UK and have a big fight, which is, although people might consider Derek Chisora a gatekeeper in boxing, he's a very, very tough juggernaut. He's very resilient. He's got a good chin. He applies pressure on his opponents. He's throwing the kitchen sink at anybody he fights. And he's always ready to go to war. That's why they call him War Chisora. They call him Del Boy, but they also call him War because he's always ready for war in that ring. He doesn't really go in there to try to be pretty. He's not trying to pop, move and do all that shuffling and stuff. He's in there flat-footed, coming full steam ahead. That's Derek Chisora. That's his style. And pretty much whenever he fights, majority of his fights are always exciting. He's really, really respected over in the United Kingdom. They really love him over there. And for Deontay Wilder to be from over here in America, I think it'll do good to, Rave from down the way. Yep, Rave. Can't forget about Rave from Cincinnati. And so Del Boy, he's been on form lately. We saw him a few fights ago. He beat Joe Joyce. And then we saw him go to war with Kubrat Pulev. Toe-to-toe action. We saw Del Boy, of course, it's hard to look good against Tyson Fury because Tyson Fury is so tall and awkward. And the style that Chisora has is perfect for Tyson Fury style. So the last fight they had, I knew that Del Boy would come up short. But that just goes to show you the type of warrior he is, though. He'll fight pretty much anybody. And for him to want to retire, this would be his 50th fight. So Chisora said, hey, I'm going to make this 50th fight go out with a bang. I'm going to go ahead and fight Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. the person that everybody's supposed to fear in the heavyweight division, the hardest one punch knockout artist in the heavyweight division, right in this era. Some would say of maybe of all time, but I would say, you got your Ernie Shavers, you got your George Foremans. So it's kind of hard to say who's the hardest puncher, and you got to look at the level of opposition that person is fighting. You know what I mean too. But Wilder, I mean, you got to give him his credit. He does have the cannon. He has a right hand cannon, and if it goes straight down the pipe and it lands, his opponents go to sleep. And he showed that time and time again. 40 plus fights, and he has like a 96% knockout ratio. So Deontay Wilder's a very dangerous puncher. He's a seek and destroy fighter. And in the same aspect, so is Derek Chisora. So that's why I said this will make a good fight, because you got two guys in there and they like to go toe to toe. And I'm just wondering how Deontay Wilder will adjust to the style of Derek Chisora, because Derek Chisora is a front foot fighter. He's going to keep, yes sir, Cuzzo, Cincinnati Duke Reagan, the young Duke Reagan for sure. He's going to put that pressure on you. He's going to put pressure on you when you fight Derek Chisora. So I guess the question is, how is Wilder going to adapt going on his back foot with the pressure of Chisora trying to push him back? Because we saw what Fury tried to do when he went with Crunk style with Sugar Hill Stewart. They adopted a plan and strategized a blueprint for him to push Wilder on the back foot. So that style was very, it was unique for the Wilder fight in particular, because I guess they felt like Wilder was going to struggle if you put him on his back foot. Now, I can't say just on his back foot alone, because there was a lot of other tactics that Fury used, like headlocks, leaning on Wilder and stuff like that. I think all that started taking a toll on the physicality of the smaller Wilder. Wilder's smaller than Tyson Fury. Whereas Del Boy, he's more like he got decent height, but he's got that stocky build, and I think he's just gonna keep pressing Wilder. So I guess the question is, would Wilder be able to position himself to land his right hand with with the full twerk on it? Like, can he get that distance with Del Boy, who's keep coming in at him? Will he be able to line up that right hand and get it off? So it's going to be an interesting fight for sure. I'm here for it. So, yeah, man. So that's what it is, man. That's what it is. So let me know y'all opinion. Deontay Wilder versus Derek Chisora, and I want to say the press conference will be next week. And like I said, I was kind of already buzzing on this because I saw a face-off, and you probably saw it if you follow boxing heavy, a few months ago or whatever, where you saw Wilder facing off with Derek Chisora. So, of course, when you see stuff like that, that news in the boxing world, it just starts to go like, okay, is Wilder going to fight Del Boy or whatever? And then here recently, maybe about a week ago, Brunch Boxing, shout outs to Matt out of New York, he makes a Twitter tweet and he says that Wilder and Derek Chisora fight will be happening, and there will be a press conference here very shortly. So, and then after that, shout outs to Cam J, my cousin here from Cincinnati, Ohio. He has his podcast live, and he had Tay Jones on there. For those who may or may not know, well, Tay Jones is a close friend to Deontay Wilder. So he's part of that inner circle. So Tay Jones confirmed that the fight is definitely going to happen. So that's kind of how I knew it was going down. And and then shortly after, like I said, about maybe earlier today or maybe UK time last night, Derek Chisora goes on his Facebook and he does the FaceTime with Deontay Wilder to confirm the fight's going to happen with the contract papers. So yeah, so that's going to be a fireworks. And shout outs to my guy over in Canada, uh, Bob, Canada's boxing channel. He also covered it as well, and he's been on my platform a few times. Bob's a real cool dude out of Canada, and every now and then we link up on YouTube and we kind of give our views on different things going down. So let's talk about the fight tonight. So tonight we're gonna have Andy Cruz versus Raymond Muratala. Muratala. I believe that's how I pronounce his last name. So I did look at some highlights and stuff like that because I was kind of familiar with these guys' names, but I didn't know a whole lot about these guys. So I looked up some highlights on each guy, and from what I could see, is to me it looks like it's going to be an interesting matchup because what I saw from both guys is their their inclination to go to the body. They like to go to the body of their opponent. So, you know, a lot of the highlights I saw, Cruz was digging into the body of his opponent. When I saw Raymond, he was doing the same. He was going and throwing those hooks and those jabs to the body. So I think it's going to definitely be one of those type of fights where it will be in the trenches a lot, and that's going to be a lot of body blows, which is something you don't see in boxing often. You see too many people trying to land on the chin or somewhere over here. They don't really go to the body in this day and age as much as back in the '90s era, the era that I grew up watching boxing. So it's always refreshing to see the fighters now that do go to the body, because to me, if you go to the body, you normally going to wear your opponent down round after round. That takes a toll on your opponent. Now, Boots Ennis, shout outs to Boots Ennis out of Philly. He did an interview and he said Andy Cruz has been looking good in camp because they work out in the same camp. They train. He said from his ring IQ, he said from his strength, he said he can see Andy Cruz breaking down Raymond Muratala tonight. So whether that is or whether that is not the case, tonight we will know once we watch the fight. And then tomorrow I can recap the fight. But it's going to be a fight to see. It's going to be a fight to see. Because like I said, I'm not too privy to either guy on that level. So I can't go any deeper than what I just explained. But I will be watching the fight tonight. And then I can give a better assessment tomorrow on our recap. Now, today was supposed to be another fight that was postponed, though. Originally, Jermaine Franklin out of Saginaw, Michigan, was supposed to fight the UK fighter up and coming Moses Ntuma. That fight got postponed a while back because Moses Ntuma had suffered an injury. Now, the type of injury has not been, to my knowledge, it hasn't been put out there. So I don't know if they're going to eventually release what had happened. Boxers do get injuries, sometimes elbow injuries, shoulder injuries, torn meniscus, ankle. It could be anything. So I was just interested to see what type of injury Moses and Tuma had. All right, so let's talk about the fight next weekend. The fight that everybody's talking about. Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez. January the 31st, next weekend. That's going to be the fight. And it's going to be a pretty nice undercard as well. Shushu Carrington, up and coming fighter out of Brooklyn, I believe Brooklyn, New York. He'll be on the undercard against Carlos Castro. You'll have Carlos Adames versus the Houston fighter. He's a southpaw fighter out of Houston. I'm trying to remember his name. Let me look it up real quick. Sometimes my mind. He will be fighting Elmo Williams out of Houston, Texas. Yeah, so they'll be on that undercard of Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez. Elmo Williams versus Carlos Adames. I'm going to edge Carlos Adames to beat Elmo Williams. Elmo Williams, I've seen him in a few fights, and I'm like, he's not a bad fighter, but he's not necessarily probably even world level necessarily. But I think he may get stopped in the later rounds. Carlos Adames may just stop Elmo Williams. On that undercard of next weekend, we also going to have Keyshawn Davis out of Norfolk, Virginia, versus Jermaine Ortiz. Now, Jermaine Ortiz did an interview not too long back with legendary boxer, the legend, Roy Jones Jr. on his podcast along with Andre Ward, which I really think is the Andre Ward podcast, but, like Roy Jones is like his right-hand man. So Jermaine Ortiz did an interview with Andre Ward and Roy Jones Jr. So Jermaine Ortiz pretty much said in the interview he didn't seem really concerned about Keyshawn Davis. And I'm not saying that, I didn't take it like he was overlooking Keyshawn, but he's saying basically that Keyshawn brings nothing to the table than anybody else he's ever fought before. You know what I'm saying? So he feels like Keyshawn is in trouble. And it's a few other people that say they can see Jermaine Ortiz beating Keyshawn Davis. But I want to know y'all opinion. Will Jermaine Ortiz stop Keyshawn Davis? Or will he win on points? I want to know your prediction. So let me know. Also, we got to talk about the main event. Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson. Now, Shakur Stevenson, although he has that type of frame and it looks like he's filling in, he's a 135-pound fighter. But he'll be stepping up 5 pounds to fight Teofimo Lopez at 140 pounds. Will that weight be a factor in any type of way? Will the 5 pounds added to Shakur Stevenson, will his reflexes be different? Will he have more power? Will he be a little bit more sluggish and not as and won't have as much mobility? Will that 5 pounds be that significant? And will it be something that would change the performance of Shakur Stevenson? In my opinion, it won't. I feel like he'll acclimate to that weight class pretty good. Now, if we're looking at the more consistent fighter of these two guys, we got to say Shakur Stevenson is the most consistent as far as his performances. Yes, he's had a lackluster performance where he got booed when he fought Edwin De Los Santos, and we saw some aftermath when rapper Cameron and Maze on their podcast said that Shakur Stevenson was a boring fighter, and then that back and forth situation started to go, kind of viral or whatever. So some people, if they're not necessarily a boxing purist, like me, I consider myself a boxing purist. So I like boxing, all styles of boxing. So whether you're like a Mike Tyson, that you're a brawler puncher, a knockout artist like a Mike Tyson, a knockout artist like a Deontay Wilder, or you're a more scientific fighter like Evander Holyfield, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, Shakur Stevenson. If you're more of the technical style fighter, I have an appreciation for those fighters too. I think the problem is Shakur can do a little more, but then he'll get kind of complacent. Like he'll be up on the scorecards, he'll be outpointing his opponent or whatever. He doesn't really want to turn it up a notch because he's afraid of taking maybe the risk, or maybe he thinks he's going to slip up and get caught or something. That's just my thinking. But I don't want to look too deep into it to try to say this is a fact. You know what I mean? I'm just giving my assessment. But Shakur, I got to give him his credit though. He's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. Now I do feel like there are a few styles, that could give him issues. Now, an opponent that's like a Tank Davis, we haven't heard from Tank lately, but just say for instance, I think Tank Davis, a power puncher who's not slow on his feet, who could put calculated pressure on Shakur Stevenson, is going to give him problems. Because Shakur is going to respect the punch power of Tank Davis. At the same time, he's not going to just be able to use his footwork to get out of trouble so easily, because Tank Davis is not a plotter. He has educated feet too. So he has educated feet and he has punch power. So that's the gift that Tank Davis has. And he sets up traps and stuff like that. But I think even like if we go back to the Zepeda fight, we saw a version of Shakur Stevenson we don't generally see. He wanted to be more in the pocket, more in the trenches on this particular fight, because he just wanted to show, hey, I can fight. I don't have to fight the way I do. I choose to fight the way I do. But I can get in there. I can get dirty. I can get gritty. I can go toe to toe in the pocket, more than what I've been doing. So in Zepeda fight, he showed that. Now with Teofimo Lopez, I guess the question we have to ask ourselves is this: will the punch power of Shakur Stevenson keep Teofimo Lopez honest? Is it respectable punch power enough to make Lopez respect the power of Shakur Stevenson? if he's not really respecting his punch power and it's not making him second guess his next move when they're playing chess or whatever, I see Tafime taking more risks because he's going to be like, okay, I felt his power. I can deal with this. And he's going to start putting calculated pressure on him and he's going to start turning up a little bit. Some people see Tafime winning for the upset. Some people feel like Shakur wins this fight pretty easily on the scorecard, as far as a decision win. I don't know, man. I want to know what y'all think. And, I kind of go back and forth. I was like 50-50 fight, right? But then I'm talking to my dude, Kenny, earlier on the phone. And I'm like, Kenny, man, we talking about the fight. So I'm like, I don't know. Now I'm thinking maybe it's going to be Shakur 60-40. You know what I'm saying? Like leaning towards Shakur winning on points. You know what I mean? But I just feel like Tafime Lopez does turn up for certain moments. When it's a big moment like this, and mind you, like I said, he's the 140-pound guy, so he has something to prove. Shakur's coming up from 135 to 140, so that right there is going to be like Tafime Lopez going to let his presence be known. I'm the dog at 140. You're coming up here to my weight class, so I think it's going to be some of that, going on in the mix, everything too. It's going to be an interesting fight. Now, I did say from the beginning that if you have a fully switched on version of Tafime Lopez, I feel like a fully focused mentally, if he's not in his own head too much, I feel like Tafime Lopez style can be problematic for Shakur Stevenson. You know, some people feel like Shakur Stevenson has a blueprint to beat Tafime Lopez. Now, let me ask you this. So, a lot of people say like Sandor Martin fight, Tafime didn't look so good or whatever. Sandor Martin was a southpaw and a boxer. And if I'm being honest, Sandor Martin is not the level of Shakur Stevenson as far as being elite, as far as his performance. So I would have to say he's dealing with a bigger problem with Shakur Stevenson as far as all around athleticism and technical abilities and footwork and movement and stuff like that. That Tafime is going to be dealing with all those things. But on the flip side of this all, do we feel like Tafime, I feel like he's going to take more risk. He's going to take, between the two, he's going to take more risk than Shakur would take as far as being willing to gamble some. I don't think he's going to be too apprehensive. I think Tafime Lopez understands the mission fully and he understands what he has to do. He said it in a couple of interviews and it sounded pretty convincing. Now, I know to say one thing and to actually perform it or do it is two different things. I get that. But Tafime Lopez said, hey, everybody says Shakur's defense is so elite and so top level and top shelf. He said, I'm going to expose the flaws that I see in Shakur Stevenson. And that because he feels, that Shakur feels, and people that might be Shakur fans feel that he's an elite level as far as his defensive style, he said he's going to pick apart a lot of small flaws that he's been watching, that he will expose those. So, what do y'all think? I mean, I want to know y'all opinion in the chat. What y'all think? Now, something I've been seeing on social media is that also I'm gonna go back to the Shakur and Tafime, but back to the heavyweight division. Now, now that now if y'all remember not too far back, Alexander Usyk, the unified champ, called out Deontay Wilder. But it was never confirmed on when they would actually fight. So what we do know is that now Deontay Wilder will be fighting Derek Chisora next. So meanwhile, Usyk will probably need a fight himself to stay fresh and to stay active. So now in circulations, you see a lot of people saying Andy the Destroyer Ruiz will be a good opponent for Alexander Usyk. So the question is, who will Usyk fight in the meantime, in between time, until he gets to fight with Deontay Wilder? And that's probably, and that fight only happens if Deontay Wilder beats Derek Chisora, which is actually a crazy pick and an opponent to take. That's a very risky fight for Deontay Wilder. There's no guarantee he's going to beat Derek Chisora. So if Wilder loses to Derek Chisora, he's not going to be getting the Usyk fight. So a lot of people feel like he should have pressed for the Usyk fight to happen first, and should he have been victorious and defeated Usyk and got the belts from Usyk, then defend the belts fighting Derek Chisora. But now he's going to fight Derek Chisora first. And to me, that's a risky fight. That's a risky fight. Because Derek Chisora has nothing to lose. This is his 50th fight. This is his retirement and going away fight. So he doesn't have anything to lose. But Wilder is the one that wants the shot at Usyk and a potential few other opponents or whatever. Maybe Anthony Joshua, if Anthony Joshua, continues boxing. But if Wilder loses to Derek Chisora over in UK, the train stops right there for Deontay Wilder. He won't get any big lucrative shots at a title like he would get for the Usyk fight. He won't get any more big paydays, I don't think. I think he'll just get, a couple of small market fights or whatever just to have a couple more paydays before retirement. But I don't think he'll ever get any big shot if he can't get past Del Boy. But I want to know y'all opinion. So let me know in the chat, please. Because like I said, here at Ring Walk Boxing Podcast, your opinion matters. So, yeah. So anyway, back to Usyk. So if Usyk does fight, hypothetically, if he fights Andy Ruiz, I don't know. I feel like yes, Andy Ruiz, let's start off saying this. Andy Ruiz has very fast hands. Very fast hands, and the fact that he's fast with his hands is that's how he creates his power. Speed equals power type situation. So he has fast hands, but what he lacks is feet work. Footwork is not something that Andy Ruiz possesses. And to me, from what I've seen as of late, he doesn't really cut off the ring too well. So I feel like the feet of Usyk, who has very educated feet, very swift and athletic guy, I think that's going to be the issue. I think Ruiz will have a couple of good moments where he might land a punch here and there, kind of like the Ruiz versus AJ second fight. But the footwork of Usyk is even that much more superior to that of AJ. You know what I'm saying? And if AJ could outbox Ruiz bouncing around on his feet, I'm sure Usyk can easily outpoint Usyk. I mean, Usyk could easily outpoint Andy Ruiz. So that to me would be a problem. Is that I don't think Usyk will stop Andy Ruiz because his chin is so good and his recovery is like a light switch. If you drop him, it's like he goes down and gets right back up like a spring, like a coiled spring. Andy Ruiz, his recovery is crazy. I mean, him and Tyson Fury have like the best recovery that I've seen in heavyweights. So I can see Andy Ruiz losing on points because, like I said, he's never been stopped in his career. And I can't see Usyk stopping him, but I can see Usyk, troubling him and moving and hitting him from different angles and really frustrating him. But I would like to know your opinion as well, my good people. Cuzzo Sweet Jones, you said, I believe Tafime will take some risk and attempt to knock Shakur out. Yeah, that's what I think, Cuzzo. I think that he's going to take the risk. He's going to gamble. He's going to roll the dice. And I think he's going to also go to the body of Shakur a lot. He's going to go to the body more of Shakur. He's going to put calculated pressure on Shakur. And he's going to probably try to, get him on the ropes or in the corner as much as he can. Kind of like Zepeda had success at times. When he was able to get Shakur back against the ropes, that's when he had that's when he had his best success. Tafime is going to have to take what was successful with Zepeda or any other fighter that fought Shakur and apply that to his repertoire. All right, in boxing news, y'all. On the undercard of Mario Barrios versus Ryan Garcia, on the undercard will be Gary Antoine Russell versus Andy Hiroka. Andy Hiroka is a Japanese fighter. So I'm looking forward to that fight. That should be a good fight because one thing I know about Gary Antoine Russell, just about all his fights are exciting because he has a very exciting style of fighting. I really like Gary Antoine Russell. He grows on me more and more. He seems like he has a real cool personality as well. I want to say he's from Maryland or that DC area from the East Coast. But shout outs to Gary Antoine Russell, who will be on the undercard of Mario Barrios' title fight with actually Mario Barrios has the belt and Ryan Garcia will try to beat him to get the WBC strap. Now, what do y'all think about that fight? Mario Barrios versus Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, much like Teofimo Lopez, he can kind of get up and down. He has a good performance, and then his next performance, you're like, this ain't the same guy. So I guess the question is, will he have a good night? Because if he has a night like he had against Rolly, he's going to lose. We need the version of Ryan Garcia that beat Luke Campbell. That even if you get knocked down, you get back off that canvas. You get back up off the canvas and you win that fight. If he has that type of mentality versus Mario Barrios, he should win. But I think if he doesn't have that energy, he might lose. Mario Barrios could outbox him. So I see this as a pretty a pretty even fight. Um, and it's kind of hard for me to call that one. But hey, if you have a prediction, let me know. And Mario Barrios versus uh, Ryan Garcia. All right. So I'm kind of bouncing from different divisions and stuff, but now we're gonna go back to the heavyweights again because I think this is where. Well, no, we won't go to the heavyweights just yet. We're gonna go to the heavyweights again here shortly. So let's talk about Floyd Schofield, aka Floyd Schofield Jr., aka Kid Austin. Now on Mill City, which is a podcast, he did an interview. His dad, Floyd Schofield Sr., did an interview with Mill City, and he said that likely his son, Kid Austin, may fight Lucas Body, but it's not concrete that he's going to fight Lucas Body. I don't believe it is. But if you know something differently, let me know in the chat, either in the chat room or in the chat. So it's a good possibility Kid Austin will fight Lucas Body. Now, Senior says Kid Austin will stop Shakur Stevenson like he stopped Tevin Farmer. So is that a bold claim to y'all? Because y'all know how some of the dads of some of the boxing dads can be. They be all the way turned up. You know what I'm saying? So he said Shakur, like people like Shakur Stevenson, Abdullah Mason, are no threat to Kid Austin. Senior, Floyd Senior, said his son's not even in his prime yet. And he said, in his eyes, no one can see him in the 135-pound weight division. In the past, I've seen him calling out Tank Davis, the dad, saying, "Hey, my son, Tank Davis can get the smoke." So he's calling out all these big names. He also said that Kid Austin could go up to 140 and shake up that division. But there's still certain things and certain people he wants to see at 135. And he's always bringing up Shakur Stevenson. Every now and then, like I said, he'll bring up Tank Davis. But he talks about Shakur more than anybody. So we'll see what happens with Kid Austin. What we do know is that he's turned down like 2 or 3 fights. The situation happened where he got sick or whatever when he was supposed to fight Shakur Stevenson. Then another guy after that, the fight slipped through the cracks and never happened. So a lot of people are kind of referring to Kid Austin as a duck, or as my fellow boxing podcaster, Showbiz the Adult, would say, a duckaroni. Are you a duckaroni? But anyways, make sure you hit that thumbs up, y'all. Hit the thumbs up, please. So let me know. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know. Let me know what y'all think. As far as that goes. All right, so now we could go back up to the heavyweight division again. And this is where we'll end this segment with the heavyweights. All right. So, excuse me. Let me. All right, so let's get back to the heavyweights real quick. We've already established that Del Boy will be fighting Deontay Wilder. So let's also talk about, and we also talked about the fact that the fight that was originally slated for today was postponed because Moses and Tuma got injured. So the Jermaine Franklin versus Moses and Tuma fight was originally for today, but it got pushed to the springtime due to an injury. Now heavyweights. I always try to keep my eye on the heavyweights because I'm a huge fan of Mike Tyson. So that was the first boxer that made me love the sport. All right. So UK WBO champ Fabio Wardley. He wants all the smoke. And he has called out Tyson Fury. Now the question is though, it wouldn't be advisable for Tyson Fury to fight Fabio Wardley right now when Tyson has been on a quote unquote retirement, which I call it a fake retirement. I don't feel like he was ever retired, but Fabio Wardley right now is on form. He's on a winning streak. It would not be advisable for Tyson Fury to want to fight Fabio Wardley right now. Maybe after a warm-up fight. So I guess the question is, will Tyson Fury fight Makhmudov next, you think? Will he be fighting the big Russian Makhmudov as his tune-up fight? And then if he looks good versus Makhmudov, then Tyson Fury versus Fabio Wardley at the latter part of this year. So what y'all think about that? What would be your opinion? Also, in the mix of it, you got Daniel Dubois saying he wants all the smoke as well. That he'll fight anybody in the heavyweights, anybody at the top. And I believe him because he fought Usyk twice, even though he came up short both times, and he fought AJ. So I think Dubois will fight anyone. Now, Fabio Wardley, like I said before, who's called out Tyson Fury, he's also keeping the same energy saying, hey, he'll fight anybody. So Fabio Wardley has been saying that he's willing to fight Daniel Dubois too. So there's options there. I mean, we know Tyson Fury's going to fight a warm-up. So maybe next fight could be Fabio Wardley versus Dubois. They should make that fight next. They should make Daniel Dubois versus Fabio Wardley happen right now. Because that would be an explosive fight. 2 knockout punchers. And it's going to come down to who has the more resilience. Who's going to be the guy that says, even if this guy knocks me down, I'm going to get back up. You know, we've seen certain things in Dubois that had people questioning him as far as that, as far as maybe his mind state or whatever. Fabio Wardley has had a couple tough fights, but he's never fought anybody who punched like Daniel Dubois, who has like a 94 or 95% knockout ratio. So I say the fight with Wardley versus Dubois should be next. Oh, man. Just thinking about that, that would be a good banger. That would be a good banger. And it's not going to go the distance. That fight could not possibly go a full 12 rounds. So let me know y'all's opinion on what y'all think. If Fabio Wardley fights Daniel Dubois, hypothetically, what would be your prediction? And who do you think Tyson Fury is going to fight next? Will it be Makhmudov or will it be somebody else? Now, of course, at that top, we have Ajit Kabiel too, undefeated. He's like a body snatcher. He loves to go to the body. So I could see that being a good fight. Actually, Ajit Cabello versus Andy Ruiz, that would be a good fight. Or Ruiz versus Fabio Wardley, stylistically, that would be a good fight. Because we know Andy Ruiz likes to fight taller guys, and he has a good chin. And Fabio Wardley is a puncher. So let's see if Fabio Wardley could stop Andy Ruiz. That would be a good fight. So there's a lot of different scenarios that you can kind of shuffle around and make your case on a different fighter, different styles, etc., etc. So I would like, like I said, I would like to see it. I'm here for it for sure. Um, you know, this is a sport that I definitely love, the sport of boxing. And I will be going I will be going live every Sunday in the USA Eastern Standard Time at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time USA. Every Sunday I will be going live. Today is Saturday and I'm going live, but I have a weekly set time at 6 p.m. Um, so if you set the bell notification on your YouTube, when I go live, it will notify and let you know when I go live. And if I drop this on I have this on my Twitter page. I have this on my Facebook. If you can, just share my page. Like take my link and share my link, my YouTube link. It goes a long way. I appreciate everybody, like I say once again, that checked up on me when I was struggling. After my recovery, my surgery, I feel a lot better. I feel a whole lot better, and I'm happy to be back here on YouTube to talk boxing with you guys. I really do. So, um, get on follow my Twitter, follow my TikTok. I have a link tree. I have a merch store. We got the hats, the shirts, the hoodies, different color hats, like the gray one I got on, or the blue one right here. The Ring Walk Boxing Podcast hats, all different colors. We got the shirts. And they're pretty nice material, so it's pretty durable. It's a pretty durable. And this online store, it's international. They deliver all around the world. So if you order your stuff, it will come to your doorstep all around the world. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out this session for today. But I want to say I appreciate everybody who tuned in. And always remember, if you didn't get to catch this live when I was actually going live, you could play it back. And I need for you to play it back. So if you missed episodes in the past, you can go all the way back to 2023, 2.5 years ago, when I started this channel back in May of 2023. Just go back and watch it from the beginning. If you're bored at home or you're driving around, you could take the YouTube and put it on Bluetooth and play it in your speaker. Because sometimes when you're driving, you can't actually watch the screen, but you can listen to it. Just plug it in your Bluetooth, activate it to your vehicle speakers, and let it play. I have past interviews with legendary Cincinnati former boxer Nate Tubbs, the brother of the former WBA champ Tony Tubbs from here, Cincinnati, Ohio, USA. So Google them if you don't know about Nate Tubbs or Tony Tubbs. You can look them up on Wikipedia or Google, and you can Google some of the fights. You can see Tony Tubbs versus Mike Tyson. You can see Tony Tubbs versus, I want to say he fought Riddick Bowe too. You can see Nate Tubbs versus David Tua. You can see Nate Tubbs versus Corey Sanders, his best highlight fight. So, and if you check out the interview I did with Nate Tubbs on this YouTube channel, it's a very good interview. I also got an interview with legendary referee Joe Cortez out of Harlem, New York. Check out the interview with me and Mr. Joe Cortez, with me and Mr. Nate Tubbs. Also, here in the future, I will be doing an interview with the legendary Cincinnati Stefan Pryor. We will be linking up, and we will be doing an interview in the future so we could talk about the career of Stefan Pryor and also talk about the late legend, his father, right from here, Cincinnati, Aaron the Hawk Pryor, whose most notable fights were the two fights he had with Alexis Arguello. So we will be talking about the legendary Aaron Pryor in this year, 2026. This year is going to be a big year. So make sure you tune in, you subscribe, it's free. Hit the thumbs up, please. Share my link. It's on Facebook posted. So take this link and share it. Hey, shout outs to my I just talked about him earlier. So I talked him up. Shout outs to Bob, Canada's boxing channel. Check out Canada's boxing channel on YouTube. Subscribe to Canada's boxing channel. He's a really good dude, and we like to talk boxing. And I want to say thank him for his support. I'm a fan of his YouTube channel. He's a fan of mine, so it's like a mutual respect. So shout outs to Canada's boxing channel. Shout outs to Bob. But yeah, this year is going to be a big year. I want to get a lot of the Cincinnati, like I said, the boxers from Cincinnati. I want to get interviews. So if you know a boxer from Cincinnati, say a name in the chat. Say a name in the chat room or in the chat area, and I will try to reach out to that boxer because I want to make sure I get the stories of Cincinnati boxers that are untold stories. And I have a platform now, so I want them to be able to come on here and tell their stories. Also, I can't forget Ricardo Williams. And shout outs to my cousin from Zone 15, Melly Mel. When he went out to Houston, Texas, he had a chance to link up with Ricardo Williams, who was also the up-and-coming boxer from right here in Cincinnati, Ohio. So I would like to get an interview at some point with Ricardo Williams. So yeah, we're gonna start right here in Cincinnati, Zone 15, Big Tree. I gotta get an interview with you. We're gonna start in Zone 15. We're gonna be all in Cincinnati, and then we're gonna start traveling north. We're gonna start getting interviews with people up north, like Columbus, Ohio, Buster Douglas, Cleveland, Ohio. A lot of boxers like Sean Porter and Tiger. Hold on. It's a lot of people up there. And up in Northeast Ohio, like former boxers and current boxers. You know, you got Kelly Pavlik from, I want to say, Youngstown, Ohio. You had Kelly Pavlik. From up there, that was a former boxer. Currently, we have the Abdullah Mason, who's doing his thing. Joey Maxim, uh, Cleveland Williams. We got a lot of boxers that came out of Ohio. Tiger Johnson out of Cleveland. Shout outs to him. So yeah, we're gonna make our way around. We're gonna start down here in Cincinnati, and then we're gonna start going all around the state of Ohio, even to the boxers out of UK. If you know any boxers in UK, up and coming fighters, I don't care if they're amateurs, if they're children, because my little cousin P3 just turned 10 years old. I still have yet to get an interview with him. I want to get P30, his dad, and my cousin, his son, P3 on this platform as well. So be looking out for a future interview with those guys as well. And just stay tuned in. I appreciate all the love and support, and I will catch you on the next round. Peace.